The Outcast on Zarthon 9. The mining station on Zarthon 9 was always cold, loud, and full of smoke. Huge machines crushed rocks day and night. Aliens of all shapes worked there, strong ones with 4 arms, tall ones with glowing eyes, and others with tentacles. Among them was one lonely human. His name was Jace Kellen. Jace was not a miner or a fighter. He was just a janitor. He wore a simple gray uniform, carried a broom, and cleaned the dirty metal floors. Every day he picked up alien trash, scrubbed slime off the walls, and fixed broken lights. He had no friends. Most aliens laughed when they saw him. "Look, the skin bag is sweeping again," a thick-armed Gorlak shouted. "He should be cleaning toilets, not walking where real warriors walk." A tall, silver-skinned alien named Drexa added, her sharp teeth flashing. Jace heard their laughter, but stayed silent. He didn't talk much. He just kept working, head down, trying to stay invisible. He had been sent to Zarthon 9 after failing the Galactic Defense Academy. Too weak, too slow, too human. No one trusted humans here. They were seen as a weak race with no real power. The aliens ruled most of the galaxy now, and humans were at the bottom. But Jace had one thing no one else had: curiosity. Late one night, after everyone had left the work zone, Jace was fixing a broken vent near the outer scrapyards. The scrapyard was a huge field filled with broken ships, old weapons, and rusted tech from 1,000 years ago. It was dark, cold, and full of danger. No one went there except him. As he worked, his scanner beeped. Beep, beep. Jace looked at the screen. It showed something strange, a power reading deep inside the scrap field. But this reading wasn't normal. It was old, very old, thousands of years old. Jace's heart beat faster. "What is that?" he whispered. He followed the signal, pushing, through piles of metal and broken ship wings. Then he saw it, a ship half buried in the ground. It was black, smooth, and had strange markings glowing faintly in the dark. It looked nothing like the modern ships he cleaned every day. This one looked ancient. He stepped closer, his boots crunching on broken metal. A small door on the side of the ship stood slightly open. Jace looked around. No one was there. He grabbed a flashlight and stepped inside. Inside, the air smelled dry and dusty. The walls were covered in strange symbols. There were seats, control panels, and empty crates. Everything was dead. No power, no sound. Except, "Welcome, a pilot," a soft voice echoed in his head. Jace froze. Who said that?" he asked out loud. No answer. He walked deeper into the ship. The voice didn't come again, but he felt it, like something was watching him, guiding him. At the back of the ship, he found a chamber with a large metal stand. And on that stand was a suit of armor. It was tall, dark, and glowing faintly. The design was unlike anything he had seen. The chest piece had sharp curves, and the helmet looked like a dragon's face. It was cracked in some places, but still powerful looking. The metal shimmered like liquid and stone at the same time. Jace stepped forward slowly. His fingers itched to touch it. Suddenly, a warning flashed on his scanner. "Danger, unidentified tech, do not approach." Jace ignored it. Something inside him said this was not a normal armor. This was something special. Maybe this was his chance to be more than just a janitor. He reached out his hand. Just as his fingers touched the cold metal, the suit glowed bright. Lights turned on, the ship hummed, the armor moved, slightly like it was breathing. Jace jumped back. "What the hell?" he whispered. Behind him, something moved. He turned around and saw 3 alien guards, Drexa and 2 others, standing at the door with shock on their faces. "What are you doing here, human?" Drexa shouted. I found this ship," Jace said, backing away. "You're not allowed. Here, this tech is for the Empire, not for garbage cleaners," she growled. One of the guards stepped forward. "Let's take him to the station commander." Jace looked back at the armor. It was glowing now, like it was alive, like it had woken up just because of him. The others had never found this ship. They had walked past it for years, but it had called to him. As the guards grabbed his arms and dragged him out, Jace looked back one last time. The armor's eyes were glowing red now, and in his mind, the voice whispered again. "You are the chosen bearer." Whispers of the past. Jace couldn't sleep. Back in the cold worker quarters of Zarthon 9, he stared at the ceiling, his body still sore from being dragged by the alien guards. They didn't file a report, they just kicked him out of the restricted zone, called him dirt, and warned him not to return. But something had changed. He still heard the voice from the ship. It wasn't just in his head. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the armor, standing tall, glowing, and waiting. "Chosen bearer," the words repeated softly like a whisper on the wind. The next morning, Jace skipped his cleaning shift. He didn't care if they punished him. Something was pulling him back to that ship. He had to know what it was. Why it called to him. Why? Only he had found it. With a stolen access card and a fake work order, he snuck back into the scrapyards. Every sound made him jump. Patrol bots floated above. Alien workers passed by without noticing him. He kept his head down and moved like a shadow. Finally, he reached the hidden place, the spot where the old ship rested. It was still there, but this time, the door was wide open. Inside the ship, the lights were dim but pulsing, like a heartbeat. The air was warmer now, the ship felt alive. "Back so soon?" The voice came again, this time clearer. Jace stepped inside, heart pounding. "Who are you?" "I am memory. I am protection. I am the final gift of the Starborn." Jace walked deeper into the chamber where the armor stood, but now more lights had turned on around it. He saw holograms, floating images of ancient battles. Armored warriors like the one he saw, fighting huge dark creatures with many eyes and sharp wings. Space burned around them. Entire planets were falling. What is this?" Jace whispered. The voice replied, "Your galaxy is not ready. The enemy sleeps, but not forever. My last bearer fell, and I waited, until now." Jace stared at the hologram. One warrior, human-like but taller, faster, was wearing the armor. That warrior fought until the very end, surrounded by darkness. Then the screen blinked out. "Why me?" Jace asked. "You are not chosen because of strength. You are chosen because you are overlooked." Jace didn't know what that meant, but part of him understood. All his life he had been ignored, mocked, forgotten. No one expected anything from him. Maybe that was why the armor had waited for him. No one else would have looked. No one else would have believed. He stepped closer again, but this time he noticed something new. On the floor near the armor, a small box had opened. Inside it was a black crystal, glowing softly. He picked it up. At once, the ship vibrated. "Warning, activation key detected." The armor rose off its stand, piece by piece. It hovered in the air. Jace stumbled back. "I didn't mean to." "Do not fear," the voice said. "You are ready." But before the armor could attach to him, loud metal footsteps echoed outside the ship. A deep alien voice shouted, "Seal the area! The human is inside again!" Jace panicked. He ran to the door and saw shadows. Alien soldiers, 6 of them. "Moving fast, I can't do this," he whispered. "I'm not ready." The armor's voice came calm and steady. "You were ready the moment you chose to return, trust me." The pieces of armor shot forward. Chestplate, gauntlets, helmet, boots. They locked around Jace in one bright flash. He screamed, not in pain, but in shock. His body lit up. The world slowed down. His mind filled with visions of alien languages, star maps, old battles, and strength. So much strength. Outside, the guards reached the door. Jace turned toward them, eyes glowing inside the helmet. They fired. The armor reacted. With a pulse of invisible energy, the blasts stopped mid-air and dropped to the ground like pebbles. The guards froze. Jace raised one hand, not knowing what he was doing, but the armor knew. A wave of light exploded forward, knocking all 6 aliens off their feet and sending them flying back into the scrap piles. Silence. Jace stood there, heart racing. I did that?" he asked. The armor answered, "You are the bearer now." And this was only the beginning. Jace looked out at the scrapyard. This place used to be a graveyard for broken things. Now it had become the place where he was reborn. The suit that chose him. The wind howled through the scrapyard. Jace stood in the open doorway of the ancient ship, his body covered in the dark armor. It felt like fire and lightning were flowing through his blood. The suit didn't just protect him, it had become part of him. But now, he was surrounded. More alien guards had arrived, armed with heavy blasters and shock lances. Red lights danced across the junk piles as flying drones circled overhead. From above, a voice echoed through a loudspeaker. "Human, remove the armor immediately and surrender." Jace looked up. His breathing was heavy inside the helmet, but the armor kept him calm. "You are surrounded," the voice continued. "That suit is alien military property. Drop to your knees or we will open fire." Jace didn't move. Inside his head, the voice of the armor spoke again. "Do not kneel. That command is for slaves, not bearers." Jace clenched his fists. He remembered how these same aliens laughed at him, pushed him, spit on him, and now they feared him. "Last warning," the alien officer shouted. "Fire on my mark." Suddenly, the armor moved on its own. Jace's left hand rose, and a blue shield appeared shaped like a curved plate of light. His right hand lit up with energy. Without any training, he leaped into the air like gravity meant nothing. The guards fired, but the blasts missed. Or maybe the armor bent the air around him. Jace landed hard on the nearest platform, crashing down with a force that sent the soldiers flying. He didn't mean to hurt them, but the armor, it knew how to fight. "This power is not meant for war," the voice said. "It is meant for protection. Use it wisely." More enemies came. Jace ran. The armor made him faster than he had ever been. He jumped over broken ships, slid under debris, and dodged flying drones with ease. Laser blasts chased him, but nothing touched him. He had never felt so alive, but deep inside, fear still burned. What was this armor? Why had it picked him? And why did the aliens want it so badly? He escaped the scrapyard and entered the dark tunnels under the mining station, old maintenance shafts that no one used anymore. The armor dimmed its glow to keep him hidden. In the quiet, Jace finally spoke. "Why me? Why not someone stronger?" The armor's voice was gentle now. "Because the strong already believe they deserve power. But you ask why. That is why you are worthy." Jace sat against a cold wall and took a deep breath. His hands shook inside the gloves. He wasn't a soldier. He was just a janitor, but the armor had chosen him. In a distant part of the galaxy, a council of alien leaders sat in a dark room, watching live footage of Jace escaping. "That armor is from the Starborn era," one alien said. "It's impossible, it was lost thousands of years ago. And now it has bonded with a human," another said with disgust. "A weak, untrained species. But he controls it. That's impossible." A third voice spoke with fear. "If he unlocks its full power, he could destroy fleets. That suit was made to fight the unseen ones. What if they return?" Silence fell. Then the leader spoke. "Send the elite hunters. Do not let him leave that moon alive." Back on Zarthon 9, Jace opened a hidden hatch and dropped into a forgotten power chamber. Lights flickered. A cracked mirror on the wall showed his reflection. The armor was beautiful, dark and sharp like a shadow warrior. Red lines pulsed softly on its surface. He didn't recognize himself. He looked like a hero from old human stories. But inside he was still Jace. The nobody. The outcast. "I didn't ask for this," he whispered. "And yet you returned. That is what makes you different." Suddenly, the armor sent an alert. "Incoming hostile signatures, high danger units." Unknown. Jace's heart skipped. He wasn't just being chased by guards anymore. Something worse was coming, and this time, He would need more than the armor. He would need courage. The challenge of fire and shock deep underground, the hidden chamber trembled. Jace stood still as the armor scanned the darkness. Cold air wrapped around him like a warning. His breath was quiet, but his mind raced. The last alert had been clear. Something dangerous was coming. Not normal guards. Not drones. Something else. Then he heard it. Thump, thump, thump. Heavy footsteps echoed through the metal tunnels. Suddenly, the wall in front of him bent inward. Then, crash. A massive figure burst through the wall, covered in black and silver armor. Not alien tech, but newer, deadly, built for war. Its face was hidden behind a helmet with a glowing blue slit for eyes. Elite hunter unit. Jace had only heard stories. These weren't soldiers. They were living weapons, trained to destroy threats quickly and without mercy. Target confirmed, the hunter said in a robotic voice. Ancient armor detected, engaging. Jace stepped back. Wait, I don't want to fight. The hunter raised an arm. A cannon unfolded and fired. Boom! Jace jumped sideways just in time. The explosion lit up the room. Fire licked the walls. Metal flew everywhere. Engaging countermeasures, the armor's voice said calmly. A shield appeared over Jace's body just as a second blast hit. He flew backward, smashing through a wall and landing hard in a dusty maintenance tunnel. Groaning, Jace rolled over. His muscles hurt. His ears rang. But the armor didn't let him fall. You must adapt. Let me show you. Suddenly the armor connected directly with his mind. Not just voice, but memory. He saw quick flashes, ancient warriors fighting in zero gravity, using the suit like an extension of their bodies. They dodged attacks before they were launched. Their eyes glowed with vision beyond normal sight. The armor whispered, "Do not think. Move with purpose." Jace stood up, his heart steadying. The hunter was already approaching again, step by step, gun ready. This time Jace didn't run. He rushed forward. The hunter fired. Jace slid under the beam, then jumped, flipping off a wall, landing behind the enemy. The armor created a glowing blade from energy on his right arm. He struck. Sparks flew. The blade cut deep into the hunter's side. The machine stumbled, but it recovered fast. A spike launched from its back, hitting Jace in the chest. Electricity surged through him. Zap! Jace screamed as the world turned white. He dropped to one knee. Smoke rose from his armor. System stabilizing, the hunter walked forward, slow and sure. You are not trained. Your defeat is expected. Jace looked up, eyes filled with fire. I may not be trained, but I'm not giving up. He stood tall again. Then die proud, the hunter said. But before it could strike again, the ship above shook. Boom! Boom! The roof cracked. Then, the ship exploded. A hidden energy core left untouched for centuries had finally gone unstable from the battle. Jace and the hunter were thrown into the air as fire and light swallowed everything. Sometime later, Jace woke up under a pile of metal. His ears rang. His body hurt. But the armor was still there. Damaged, but alive. So was he. He crawled out of the rubble. The hunter was nowhere to be seen. Maybe destroyed. Maybe not. He looked up at the smoke and burning sky. The scrapyard was in ruins, but in that moment, Jace realized something. He had survived a full attack from an elite hunter. He wasn't just wearing the armor now, he was learning to fight with it. The armor's voice came again, softer now. You are becoming what you were meant to be. But Jace knew this was just the beginning. If they had sent one hunter, more would come. He had no choice but to leave Zarthon 9. He had to find out the truth behind this armor, its creators, and the real threat it was built to stop. The galaxy didn't know it yet, but the human they once mocked was about to change everything. The hunt begins. A storm of ash and smoke covered the scrapyard. Jace stood at the edge of the crater where the ancient ship used to be. Nothing remained but scorched metal and blackened ground. The explosion had erased everything, including his hiding place. The station was now on full lockdown. Alarms howled across Zarthon 9. Red lights flashed from towers. Patrol drones flew in the sky like angry insects. Loudspeakers repeated one message across the colony. Warning: a human has stolen forbidden technology. Subject is armed and extremely dangerous. Capture on sight, dead or alive. Jace's face was now everywhere. The same aliens who once ignored him now feared him. He moved through the back tunnels of the mining colony, old, forgotten paths built during the first construction. Rusty and narrow, these tunnels were once used by scavengers and smugglers. Now they were his only chance. The armor, though damaged, still whispered to him. "They are coming." Jace touched his chest plate. "Can we escape?" "Only if we move now. Every second matters." He ran. His boots echoed against the metal floor as he crossed one chamber after another, ducking past scanning beams and crawling through service vents. But no matter how fast he moved, the hunters were faster. This time they didn't send one. They sent 3. Not soldiers, not machines. These were living assassins, elite alien mercenaries trained to kill anything that breathed, each from a different world, each with a name that spread fear across star systems. The first was Vorak, the Skinburner, a reptilian monster with acid blood and armor grown into his flesh. He hunted using heat sensors and flame jets. The second was Silix the Mind Ripper, a tall, silent creature who controlled minds with her voice. One word could turn the strongest warrior into a puppet. The third was Unit 7, a half-machine tracker, who never missed his mark. He didn't speak. He didn't sleep. He only followed the target, until the kill. Jace didn't know their names yet. But the armor did. They are not soldiers. They are executioners. "Why are they after me?" Jace asked as he climbed into a hidden tram tunnel. "Because they know what the armor can do. They fear what you might become." The old transport tram sat dead on the tracks covered in dust. Jace climbed into the cockpit and searched the controls. No power. Then he heard footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Getting closer. He turned. A shadow appeared. In the tunnel, a tall figure dragging a curved blade. Behind it, 2 more figures moved in silence. Jace's blood froze. "No time," he said. "No escape." The armor's voice came low and clear. "Then stand and face them. You are no longer the prey." Jace stepped onto the tracks. The hunters stood across from him, bathed in red emergency lights. None of them spoke. But the message was clear. Run and die tired. Fight and die quickly. Jace raised his arm. The damaged armor flickered, but stayed. Together, he breathed deep. "I may not win," he whispered, "but I won't fall easy." The 3 hunters spread out. Vorak moved first, launching fire from his arms, filling the tunnel with heat. Jace rolled aside just in time, his shield crackling from the pressure. From above, Silix whispered a word. Jace's mind swirled. The walls bent. Time slowed. His vision blurred, but the armor pulsed and screamed inside his head, breaking the spell. He shouted back, and light exploded from his chest, knocking her off balance. Unit 7 dashed in silently, slashing with plasma blades. Jace blocked the first strike, dodged. The second, then spun and kicked, the return of the forgotten enemy far beyond Zarthon 9, beyond the stars most aliens even remembered. Something ancient was stirring. Inside a black rift floating near a dead star, a signal blinked for the first time in 1,000 years. Code. Starborn protocol breached. Host detected. Armor repaired. Activate the last enemy. Something opened its eyes. Something not alive. But not fully dead either. Back on Zarthon 9, Jace stood inside an old escape ship he found buried in a junk hangar. It was small, rusty, and barely flew, but it had one working jump drive. His hands trembled as he entered coordinates into the system. The armor helped him access the ancient maps hidden inside it. maps showing places erased from galactic records. "Where are we going?" Jace asked softly. The armor's voice came back slow and quiet. "To where it all began, the forge of the Starborn." "But why?" "I need to hide." "There is no hiding. Not anymore." Suddenly the screen on the ship flickered. A shadow filled, an alien shape, not like the ones chasing him, not like any race Jace had ever seen. It had glowing scars, too many limbs, and eyes like dying suns. The armor went silent. Jace stared. What is that?" Then the voice returned, but this time it sounded older, slower, heavier. "The reason I was created, that is the unseen one." The ship jumped through hyperspace. Jace sat in silence. His thoughts were spinning. He was being hunted, hated, and now warned by the suit about a forgotten enemy from before recorded history. "How is it back?" he asked. "Because I woke. Because you woke me." The armor explained everything. Long ago, before most galactic races learned space travel, there was a war so big it was erased from history, an enemy not of flesh and blood but of code and corruption, beings that lived inside machines, planets, even living minds. The unseen ones. They consumed worlds by infecting technology. Whole civilizations were lost. To stop them, the Starborn, an ancient race, created living armor powered by soul and memory. Each armor was paired with a bearer. Together they were the galaxy's last shield, but they failed. The final armor, the one Jace now wore, escaped before the last world fell. It hid in the wreck of a ship. It waited for someone worthy, someone overlooked. And now, because Jace had awakened it, the unseen ones had returned. Suddenly, red lights filled the cockpit. Warning. Enemy presence detected in Jumpstream. Jace jumped to his feet. "They found us!" A crack opened in the void outside the ship. From it, a dark, spear-shaped vessel emerged. No engines, no lights, just silence. It floated toward him like a ghost. "That is not a hunter," the armor warned. "That is a scout of the unseen." "What do I do? Fight, or die like the others?" Jace grabbed the controls, but they didn't respond. "It's hacking the ship." "Then we stop it before it finishes." Jace activated the armor fully. Metal slid over his face, sealing the helmet. The chest glowed. His hands became weapons of light and code. He punched through the ship's side hatch and leapt into space. No gravity, no air, just stars and death. But the armor formed a field around him. The scout ship opened like a blooming black flower. From its core, a creature emerged. Its skin looked like liquid metal, its face like a mask made from screaming voices. It had no mouth, but Jace heard it. "You are late, bearer. The galaxy will fall again." Jace raised his fists. "I may be late, but I'm here now." They collided. In space, light and shadow, ancient tech and forgotten terror. The fight was unlike anything Jace had faced. The enemy moved without a body, jumping from one broken drone to another. Every second it spoke in his mind, showing him visions, cities burning, planets crumbling, and humans screaming. "You cannot win," it whispered. But Jace didn't back down. The armor protected his mind. He remembered the laughter of the aliens who mocked him, and the strength he found after. He wasn't just a human anymore. He was the first new bearer in 1,000 years. He had to fight. He would fight. After a brutal battle, Jace struck the final blow, an energy blade driven straight into the heart of the shadow creature. It screamed, without sound, folded in on itself and vanished. Silence. Jace floated in space, breathing hard, surrounded by stars. Then the armor said softly, "They know you now. You have warned them, and they are coming." Jace looked toward the galaxy below. It had mocked him. It had chased him. Now, it would need him. The human who stood alone. The galaxy was silent, not because there was peace, but because fear had returned. In hidden corners of star systems, machines stopped working. Navigation systems glitched. Entire satellites turned black. The name whispered across channels was old, forbidden, and never spoken aloud. The unseen ones had returned. Galactic leaders panicked. Armies were placed on alert. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. They were not ready. And the only one who had faced the darkness and survived was a human. Jace stood at the edge of the orbiting asteroid base called Red Halo. It floated near a dying star, forgotten by trade routes and ignored by governments. It was here, in the silence of space, that he prepared for the last stand. His armor, now fully awakened, gleamed with new energy. Runes glowing on his chest and sharp light pulsing at the joints. It no longer looked like something broken from the past. It looked like something reborn. But Jace himself felt heavy, tired, alone. Behind him, a small group of beings watched in silence. Not soldiers, not politicians, but aliens, some of the very same ones who once mocked him on Zarthon 9. Now they stood behind him with respect in their eyes. Drexa, the silver-skinned warrior who once laughed at him, stepped forward. "We were wrong," she said, voice low. "You're not weak. You're what we need." Jace didn't answer at first. Then he turned. "You don't need me," he said. "You need to believe that someone like me can matter, that anyone, even the forgotten, can stand tall." Suddenly the stars blinked, a ripple in space, then a shadow, massive, endless, spreading across the system like ink in water. The enemy had arrived, not ships, not armies, but code-made life, swarming like a plague, infecting everything they touched. They moved like a storm of nanites, reshaping machines into monsters. One by one, the ships near Red Halo began to fail. Engines died. Weapons went dark. Screams echoed through comms. "They're eating our systems," someone cried. Then silence. The last remaining voice came through. "The human, he's our only hope." Jace stepped forward to the edge of the launch deck. Below him, space bent and twisted as the swarm came closer. The armor whispered gently, "If we fall, they fall with us. But if we rise for all." Jace nodded. He jumped, launched like a missile into space. He soared toward the darkness alone. No backup, no fleet, just a human. One who had been laughed at. One who was left behind. One who now carried the last gift of the Starborn. The swarm saw him. Thousands of eyes opened. Tendrils reached for him. They screamed in a language older than stars. "You are one. We are many. You cannot win." Jace's armor exploded in light. He didn't respond with words. He responded with will. The battle was chaos. Jace spun through the storm, dodging waves of dark matter. The armor cut through creatures of shadow, lighting up space like a starburst. Each move felt guided by memory. Each strike carried ancient power. He remembered being weak, being mocked, being alone. Now, he fought for every species, every forgotten soul, every child who would grow up in a galaxy free of this nightmare. The final blast shook everything. Jace reached the heart of the swarm, a core shaped like a shattered planet, pulsing with code and hate. He charged his entire suit into one final attack. The armor screamed. Jace roared. Boom! A flash brighter than any sun. Silence. For a long moment, space was empty. No more swarm. No more enemy. Just drifting stars and the soft hum of peace. Back on Red Halo, the aliens waited. Then, one blinking signal appeared on the radar. One life form. Still alive. Still human. Jace. When he landed, the entire base stood in silence. No one cheered. No one clapped. They only bowed their heads, because they understood. Now it wasn't just a battle, it was a message. One human, one armor, one galaxy. Saved. And in every school, every home, every station across the stars, stories would begin with one simple truth. They mocked him, until he became the legend who stood alone.